Game preview. San Antonio Spurs at Milwaukee Bucks. San Antonio looks to bounce back against Giannis and the Bucks. By Jacob Douglas, January 8, 2025, 2 a.m. CST. The San Antonio Spurs season has been filled with ups and downs. Every time they manage to get a few games over .500, a string of disappointing games takes them right back to even. The Spurs started a 5-game road trip with a loss to the Chicago Bulls in which they blew a 19-point lead. It's their second loss in a row where the game was decided in the final minutes. Now they'll travel north to face the Milwaukee Bucks and one of the best players in the world. There were plenty of late-game fireworks the last time Victor Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo played each other. Wembanyama's "he's arrived" moment came when he stuffed the Greek Freak at the rim in clutch time on national TV. Now the two abnormal superstars are muttered in the same breath and are a must-watch basketball matchup. Milwaukee has turned things around after a tough start to the year but is 2-4 in their last 6 games. San Antonio will need to be on their A game to get back above .500 and bounce back from a disappointing 2-game stretch. San Antonio Spurs 18-18 at Milwaukee Bucks 18-16. January 8, 2025, 8:30 Central Time. Watch ESPN, listen WOAI 1200 AM. Spurs injuries. Jeremy Sochan, out. Back. Sida Sissoko, out. G League. Riley Minix, out. G League. Harrison Ingram, out. G League. David Duke Jr. out. G League. Bucks injuries. Giannis Antetokounmpo, probable knee. Andre Jackson Jr. probable back. Chris Middleton, probable ankle. What to watch for? Can the Spurs find an offensive groove? It's been tough sledding for the Spurs offense lately. They've dropped to 18th in the NBA in points scored per game. It's been a feast or famine for San Antonio, with the majority of the roster struggling to find offensive consistency. Wembanyama has been the only consistent offensive threat, with the rest of the supporting cast struggling to find its footing. It seems like the team can't get more than 2 or 3 players to have an on night at the same time. The Bucks are a top 10 defense in the NBA. If San Antonio's offensive struggles continue, it could get ugly in Milwaukee. Late game execution. The Spurs have blown 2 straight games in the fourth quarter. A lot of their issues have come on the offensive end, where they've scored 15 and 16 points in the fourth quarter of their last 2 games. Whether it be dead legs, a lack of execution of the offense, or a lack of play-calling creativity, San Antonio has been brutal down the stretch. The Spurs have the talent to stick around with Milwaukee. Whether they can find ways to create advantages down the stretch could decide the game's fate. The rotation without Jeremy Sochan and backup center minutes. Sochan will miss another game on Wednesday night due to a back injury. Without Sochan, the Spurs rotation becomes very interesting. Expect to see Stephon Castle in the starting lineup and either Zach Collins or Charles Bassey playing a lot of minutes as the backup 5. One of them needs to step up so the Spurs aren't reliant on playing Wembanyama 36+ minutes, wearing him out late in the game. Without Sochan, we will probably see more of Julian Champagnie, who has been playing great basketball lately, more from pounding the rock. Open thread. Happy birthday to Trey Jones. What we learned from the Spurs loss to the Bulls. Highlights. 8 Spurs scored in double figures in loss to Bulls. Open thread. Stephon Castle named Spurs Youth Basketball League Commissioner. Spurs late game collapse leads to embarrassing loss to the Bulls. San Antonio vs. Chicago. Final score. Spurs S.